Hey guys, today I'm making the mother of all chocolate drip cakes. I've gone for some extra chunky drips to give some drama. I've thrown in some chocolates, macarons, meringues, and some of our signature roses. Of course, I add buttercream roses to everything, so why not add it to this? I know that lots of you have been Instagramming and following us on Instagram. I don't know about you, but there are so many amazing cakers that are inspiring me on Insta. I've added the details below for some of the creative talents that have helped to inspire this cake. So to make this cake, we're going to need some 8-inch rounds and some 6-inch round cakes. I've gone ahead and baked 2 of each, and then I've layered both of those to 1-inch high layers. I also have some 6-inch and 8-inch cake plates, as well as a 10-inch round cake board. And then I made up some really pretty colors in our sweet buttercream recipe. I've added the link in the description box below. I've also added the recipe link for our dark chocolate ganache, and you can see exactly how this is made in the video attached. First, I'm going to go ahead and stack up our 8-inch round using a gorgeous purple buttercream. Add a nice even layer, and then stack it all up. And then pop that into the fridge for about 10 minutes and get started on the top layer. This time we're using a beautiful pale pink buttercream. Now I'm going to go around and just shave off the edges just so that it's nice and straight up and down. And if you want to see any of these cake basics in more detail, be sure to check out our cake basics playlist and you can see it all right there. So I just want to add a nice light crumb coat to the cakes and then just scrape it back as much as you can with a scraper. Add the excess on top and do a nice light crumb coat on there as well. Now it's time to get started on our final coat. So I have an extra cake plate in both the 8-inch and the 6-inch sizes, and I'm going to use this to place on top of the cake, and this is the fastest and easiest way to get smooth sides on your buttercream. Take a scraper and just line it up so that you know that it's nice and level, and then take your buttercream and just smear it from board to board. And then scrape it back. Then you just lift off the top, brush any excess in towards the center of the cake, and then ice the top. Don't worry too much about where the two meet, because we will have the chocolate dripping down it. Then we want to let this set up in the fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now before we start assembling, we want to go ahead and stack up these layers. And again, there's a link to a video to help you out with this. Now I'm going to start making some roses with our other frosting. Start by just doing a little zhuzh up and down, I call it, and then wrapping all the way around. Now we're going to do like little rainbows going around. I'm left-handed, so I work towards my left. Most of our students work towards their right if they're right-handed, but try a bit of both and see what feels more comfortable. Now add a second row. This time we're going to do about 5 petals. And then for our final one, we're going to fan it back, which just means to pull back your wrist a little, and that will help them to just look like they're unfolding and be a much more open style rose. And I also want to do some that are just like little buds. Keeping it nice and closed and small. Doing some in our purple as well. Now you can see us make these in more detail in our other tutorials, and I've added the links below for you. Lastly, I'm using a 107, which is a little drop flower blossom tip. And all you're going to do is very gently, just off the surface, let it curl and then release. And you get these tiny little blossoms. And you can make a bunch of these and then let them all dry on the same piece of parchment. So now it's time for the fun part, which is adding all of that chocolate ganache dripping down this cake. To do that, I'm also going to need to have all of my other sweets ready. So as well as the flowers that we're making, I'm also adding some sixlets, some macarons, some little Kinder sweets, some chocolate strawberry balls, little meringues, and some wafer biscuits. Now you can add anything that you like to this, and if you make a cake like this, we would love for you to hashtag cake style so that we can see all of your guys' creations. But the first thing we're going to do is take our ganache, which is still quite runny. I did make this right before I started doing all of this cake, so it has been cooling down for about an hour and a half now. Yes, it takes that long to make a cake. And to help me with making the drips, I'm going to be using a little squeezy bottle. So using my squirt bottle, I'm just going to start by flooding in all the way around the cake. Now I'm going to rest it up against one spot. Just let it drip down. Now I like really chunky drips, as you might have seen in our white chocolate raspberry cake recipe. But if you like tiny skinny ones, the only difference is that the ganache is a little bit runnier. Now for the top, just going to place some on the cake, smooth it out to the edge. Now coming back. Keep squeezing to get the long ones. And now it's time to have some real fun with all the decorations. So I'm going to start by putting some tall things up the back. Add a mac. Some little wafers. Add a little bit of buttercream to help prop up the rows. Little meringues. And then add some to the second layer. And some cute little sixlets. And then add our little blossoms. And the last thing I'm going to do is just with a number 2 tip, pipe a little purple dot in the center of the blossoms. And there you are, guys. You have our take on a chocolate drip cake. I went for extra chunky with the drips. I had to add in some of our gorgeous buttercream roses and some delicious candy and chocolates as well. If you needed a hand with any of the basics of this lesson, check out our Cake Basics playlist and that will help you along the way. I also have a playlist for some of our favorite buttercream cakes of all time, and we have recipes to check out on our channel as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Please give us a thumbs up if you liked this lesson and subscribe to our channel for more videos.